What is up, everybody? Excuse me. I'm back, baby. You know, it's funny. I haven't fished since the Friday, which would be the second before Walleye Fest. I went to go out last Thursday, a week ago today, and my bilge pump wasn't working. I keep my boat in the water. My bilge pump wasn't working. The back of the boat was full of water. And I called my buddy, Captain Rick Hajecki, out to Krenzer Marine, and we talked about a few things. I'm not unable to fix things mechanically, but I'm also not the greatest when it comes to diagnostics and stuff like this. If I know what's broken, I can fix it. I can take it out and put a new one in. If you tell me to, in a car or a boat or an engine and say, well, it's doing this, why is it doing that? That's not my thing. I'm a fisherman. I'm a carpenter. Some things I know and some things I don't. Well, I ended up yesterday having a couple hours free in the afternoon, so I hooked the boat up and I ran it out to Krenzer's. And the incredible staff out there, and the service staff, and the owner Tim was there, and they're like, "What's going on?" I said, "I got no power to the bilge pump." So the one service tech comes out with a test light, and in 5 seconds he goes, "Yep," pulls it out. I had a blown fuse in the fuse box. I was there for 5 minutes. I turned around and came home. So I put the boat in the water last night. Now we're back. We're back. Boy, I need a shave. Look at that. Couple days and the old grays start poking through. So I'm going out fishing. Thank God. I was starting to have a little twitch, I'm not, I say I'm not sure. I mean, I don't, it's 5:30, 5:45 right now. By the time I get out there, I'm halfway down the river. I'm gonna go fish shallow. I'm gonna throw jerk baits. I might throw a crankbait or two, and I can only fish till 7:30, and then I gotta get to work. So we'll see what we find. So stay tuned. I'm shocked though. One thing, in the river here, and they're pulling a lot of water. The water's still high. We had a lot of rain. And it's been threatening for 2 days, like it's going to rain more. But it hasn't, only a few sprinkles. Oh, and by the way, if you're one of the many, many people that said, "Hey, that's an awesome hat, where do I get one?" I have more coming. They'll be on the app, they'll be on the website, in the Shopify store, coming up. We also have these incredible performance hoodies, which is now my new favorite. I love it. It's medium weight for the rest of the summer, spring, summer, and fall. And I've got t-shirts too. And soon we're gonna have something else going in the app. We'll have some more tournaments going, some fun stuff, so looking forward to that. So stay tuned this morning. I'm excited to be back out here. I am super excited to be back out here. Let's go fishing. I'm gonna keep my tip up this morning. Better be bent. Whoa, whoa, whoa. All right, we're back. We're back. Man, it felt good this morning. Got the old right arm worked out. I went shallow. I went where I left them the last time I was out, which was 2 Fridays ago. Wow, it's been 2 weeks. Good gosh. I did the same thing. I was throwing a jerkbait, and they were just annihilating it. It's 7:20 right now. I'm getting ready to head in and get to work. So I really fished for about an hour. I did go hit 2 other spots. I didn't do anything in either of those spots. They were pretty quick hitters. So my main spot this morning was I was in 8 foot of water, casting up into shallower. It was broken rock, little bit of pinweed sticking up. I had one bite on, it's the Northland. It looks like a jigging minnow, but it's got a plastic tail, kind of a hybrid. I did have one take on that, hit it on the way down. I assume it was a walleye. Everything else was on the jerkbait. I'll put which one it was in the video so you'll see it. It was the Strike King KVD jerkbait, which aren't my favorite. I'll be honest with you. I fished it this morning more because of the color. This gray low sky. I wanted something, and this one is white. It's like a pearl finish, and I wanted something that was gonna show up a little better. Multiple choices I could have went with. The water's clear. Lot of debris floating around out here. The lake is high with all that rain. Lot of debris. I didn't see any big stuff, but there's sticks and limbs sticking up all over the place. So anyways, I was in 8 to 9 feet of water with the boat, and I was casting towards shore. I had, 6 smallmouth, 1 big largemouth, and 3 keeper walleyes all on that jerkbait in the span of about 35, 40 minutes. So I'll take that every single day of the week. Oh, and a big pickerel, which made me pucker a little bit at $18 a jerkbait. The last thing you want to see is a pickerel on the business end of that jerkbait. But you know, I did tie up. I retied a couple times. I'm running 12-pound Cortland Top Secret fluorocarbon leader. Water temp's 57.5, so it's not like you had to go slow with the jerkbait. I wouldn't say I was really ripping it, but I would, you know, my rhythm is bump, 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 and a pause. Bump, 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 like that. But that's just me, and the rhythm. I've been out here listening to music in the morning, and I'll jerk I'll jerk it to the rhythm of the music sometimes. Jerkbait fishing to me is one of those things that it's accessible to everybody. I don't think there's a right or a wrong way to jerk it. As funny as that sounds, saying it. Keep trying different rhythms and cadences until you start getting bit. Now, this morning, I don't know whether that was just a hot pile of fish. I mean, I know that those bass were probably in there spawning, or I didn't go look for beds or anything like that. I just was drifting through this area. I ended up spot locking because 3 casts in a row, and 2 of the 3, as soon as it hit the water, they were on it. So they must have just been fired up to begin with. And I weeded through half of those bass that I caught before I caught my first walleye while on spot lock in that same spot, because they all live in the same areas. You know, a smallmouth, I didn't really expect that largemouth to be in there, but he's probably getting ready to spawn too, or she. Big fish. It was over 4 pounds. I was shocked actually that it came up to be a big largie. Anyway, those walleyes and smallmouth in this lake specifically live in the same spot. You find that good broken rock or weed edges, they're both going to live there. So you go in and fish it, and you never quite know what you're going to catch. Now, I'm sure I could have stayed there and moved around a little bit and picked it apart and finished out my limit. I don't doubt that one bit. Those walleyes were on, and they were, none of them today, doesn't matter the species, none of them were soft bites. I had fish hit it while it was being jerked. I had fish hit it while it was sitting still, and you'd see the line straighten right out. Don't be intimidated by jerkbait fishing, really, truly. It's one of those things, like a soft plastic swim bait. It's just a chuck and retrieve. You get it out there, you count it down to where you think, or you start, count it down 3, then 5, then 7, until you get bit. And you just remember that slow, steady cadence, that retrieve, and you just do that again. To me, again, jerkbait fishing is really, there's not a lot of feel involved with it. Like I did throw that jig a few times over there, and the way my boat was set up, and I was in a crosswind trying to cast up in there, and so you get a belly in your line. And if you were trying to fish a Ned rig or a jig on the bottom, that can be tricky sometimes, because that feel, especially if it's light for that shallower water, sometimes that can be a little tricky to get that feel down. But with a jerkbait, it's power fishing, and it's cast it out there. Won't. Oh, there he is, and I love it. I don't know. It's easy fishing, I guess. But if you're an angler on, and a lot of people will think to themselves, oh, it's just that's just for bass fishermen. Some of the absolute, something just swirled right here next to me. Some of the absolute best walleye anglers, tournament anglers on this lake, in other places, but on this lake, live and die by the jerkbait bite, because it's reactionary, it's fast, it's fun. You can cover a lot of water until you find them, and then really pick it apart with a jerkbait. It's a good big fish lure. Again, you're sparking that interest. You're firing up that school. So don't be intimidated by thinking, oh, it's just for bass fishermen. I throw it on a 7.9 JTX mag medium light spinning rod. You can throw it up. You can throw them on bait casters. I like a spinning rod for a lot of reasons. I like that longer spinning rod because I get a lot of distance on my cast, and I'm covering a lot of water with every retrieve. It gives me a lot of opportunity, and with a high-speed retrieve spinning reel, you can catch up to it fast. It just works for me. There's 1,000 ways to do the same thing. That's how I do it. I throw it on braid and fluoro, which I throw most everything on nowadays. But don't be intimidated. And you can go down to Lakeside Outfitters right here on the lake, and they have an incredible selection of all price ranges. And you can spend a lot of money on a single jerkbait. Like you can buy one jerkbait for $25+. You don't have to. I'm not telling you have to. The Megabass Vision 110 is like the standard of the industry in that high-end jerkbait, and they're $25-26 a piece. I have a few of them. I don't have a ton of them like some people, because it makes me hurt deep inside to spend that much money on one lure, and then every time I do catch it, hook up on it, I kind of have that moment of, God, don't break off. I run 12-pound fluorocarbon leader, and I check it after every single one, no matter what. Like those KVD jerkbaits, that Strike King, I think they're about 15 to 17. One of my all-time favorites, color and style, and I started with it this morning and it didn't get bit, is this Rapala right here. That is one of my absolute favorites. That's a deep dive in shadow wrap. That color, that purple, that side, that's typically my go-to jerkbait. It's a Rapala. It's not super pricey. It's not cheap, you know, but they're about the same as the KVD ones. There's a Megabass Vision 110 Junior. That's the smaller size in perch. You can see all the paint missing on it. That's a good one for me, especially when you get in around weeds, you know, that are, you know, you got 4 or 5 feet over the top of them to fish, and that young of the year perch, like, that is deadly. You know, obviously you can always throw so don't be scared of jerkbaits. It doesn't take any special equipment or skill set. It's just get out there and jerk them. Dunk, 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 dunk. You know, until you find that rhythm that those fish latch onto. I like throwing them in shallower water, 15 feet or less. You can get the deep divers that'll go down as much as 20. I throw them on the St. Lawrence and Lake Ontario for those big trophy smallmouth. I throw them down here, whether I'm looking for bass or walleye. You know, so keep that in mind when it's time to get out there. Have a great day. I'm going in. I'm getting to work. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Keep your tip up.